you should not start a business from scratch? What is the number one reason that all businesses fail if you're trying to start from scratch? All right, and we are back, and we're gonna get right into it. I have two co-hosts with me today. I have Matt. For a long time, we were working with nicknames, but we're not going to go down that route because we do have
my nickname was Trash.
Oh my God, no! That's a far cry, and that's the exaggerator from King Matt on the other side of it. But we have
King Matt.
We also have another. I've brought another person on here. This is Skylar, and I mean, there's a certain significance for bringing Skylar on here today that we'll get into that a little bit later, but Skylar has been a part of the team for a long time. I told them that I wanted to just get straight into this podcast because it was supposed to be a, let's say, part two or a carry on from last week where I was quite vocal about not starting a business.
Very vocal.
Yes, but I didn't feel like I gave reasons. I didn't elaborate well enough as to why I said that. So I did a little bit more thinking about it. So I still I'm doubling down on my conviction that you should not start a business. Now is not the time, and nobody should start a business. And I think back to when I decided to start my business, when I had people telling me, and some of them, like, I'm a big believer that, like, if somebody is speaking without a frame of reference, you should not listen to them. But I had people that generally did have a frame of reference. They just did not give me their reasoning. They just flat told me that I shouldn't leave Chrysler to start a business, but they didn't give me any reasoning behind it. So mine was, okay, if I'm going to say that, much the same way of everything else, if I say something, I need to explain it. And I thought, okay, well, then maybe we need to have another podcast to explain.
Sounds very millennial of you.
You know, that's not fair, because both of you know that if I'm going to say something, or if I'm going to make a big, bold, or broad statement, that I'm already prepared for that why, and I'm prepared to explain myself. But when we did that last podcast, it was like, I made a bold statement. I just did not elaborate and literally explain myself on what I was getting at. And I just didn't think that was fair, because I'm offering that perspective where if I say something at this point, there is testing and there is knowledge behind why I say it. I didn't offer that in the last pod. So it was like, okay, then let's offer that now. So
we have all gathered here today to hear.
Yes, so again, my bold statement is, do not start a new business. You are crazy if you start a new business. When you look at, like, the whole thing about the casino is, I mean, they don't want card counters. So they don't want you to go and play blackjack to beat the house when the house always wins. And the whole point of card counting is that you pick up a slight edge to the house. So people are willing to become card counters, and they're willing to go into casinos with a 51% advantage, a 1% over 50% as an advantage. So you will see them literally betting and I mean, putting your money where your mouth is, because you go in knowing you have a 1% advantage over 50% of actually beating the house and winning. And I really, for the average person, would not advise odds of 50-50 or 51-49. Like, I'm all about beating odds, but you just don't go into to do something knowing that you only have a 50% chance of winning.
Coin flip.
Yeah, you want to stack the deck. You want to know that, okay, I'm going to beat the odds, but you still want a 60, 65, 70% chance of winning.
If only they knew about all of our bets.
Yes,
I've won them all.
I don't know if you've won them all, but I mean, you've definitely won more than your 50% of the coin flips.
Because I put my bar at like 85%.
But don't get me wrong. He's talking about those jovial bets, because I have wondered why over the years Matt has stuck with me, and I think that it is because I have proven Matt wrong many a times when it comes to significant bets in business in general.
Debatable.
Well, he's still here. I mean, that's so the point is,
I haven't given up on him yet.
That's, I have made a career out of beating the odds. The stupidity in that statement is that knowing what I know now, I never would have attempted to beat the odds because the odds are 99-1. Like, no rational person enters a game with a 99% failure rate. And that's why I said in the last one, like, I know that I'm fucked up. Like, the ones that win this game, they're not right. They're not normal. They're not average. Like, they are willing to take totally insurmountable odds and say, yeah, this is the game that I want to play. And some of them, it's ego-driven. Mine was not ego-driven. Mine was that I just was not aware of the odds themselves. And now I look back and I'm like, no, that's where I say I'm a 1%er. Like, no, I literally beat these odds, but it was not due to massive intelligence. Honestly, it was due more to like blind stupidity and just a refusal to not stay down. Like, you see all of those great movies, and
where's the stubborn shirt?
Honestly, maybe this was an appropriate one that I should have been wearing that because it was pure bullheaded stubbornness. And it was not knowing like when to stay down. Like, you get hit so many times, and I don't know. I don't try and learn the definition of or understand quitting. And that has served me well because it has gotten me through the other side. But the point is, nobody in their right mind plays a game where you lose 99% of the time. That is the game of entrepreneurship. So I'm sitting here going, I'm trying to save you some pain, but I also understand that I need to explain it in more descriptive detail so you understand why I'm telling you, do not play this game. And then that's that. It's not about not playing this game. It's about starting something from nothing, creating a business from nothing, starting day one, $1, starting with your very first customer. That is a losing proposition. It is not a game that I would advise anybody to play. If you choose to play that game, you're showing your lack of intelligence by being willing to enter that game with all of the knowledge that is out there today. Because that's the thing, is it's like in no other time is information readily available. But even with that information being readily available, the odds of success are not changing. It's still a devastatingly, hugely losing proposition. Agree?
I mean, the odds agree with that statement.
Okay. Now, if you've already screwed the pooch and you've already entered the game of business, okay, on the back half of this, we'll talk about how to keep your head above water, how to survive, how to thrive. But I want it to be very pointed.
Not be too proud and reach out for assistance.
Well, it's totally, I mean, because talking about that end of it, if you get into it for the money, like, you're dumb. Because because it is such a losing proposition. And even if you win, it is such a long game of delayed gratification before the money ever actually comes. And if you're doing it for ego, like, it's fake. It's fake as fuck. Like, I was sitting here thinking about that on the way here where I'm like, I noticed that I don't do business with anybody where the name of their business is attached to their name. Because when I start thinking about some of the individuals that I know, that I'm like, when their name is attached to it.
That's not entirely true. But
well, I mean, I
ain't going to mention names.
That's what I'm saying. It's because I'm thinking about
there's a couple.
Is there a couple that I'm like, I don't know?
Yeah. There's a couple.
And we don't, I mean, and I was like, I'm not going to, because I'm not going to call out names to the other side of it, because I'm like, I know of a couple companies and I know of a couple individuals that I think are pretty low character individuals, and the name of their company is directly attached to their name. And I think that is more ego driven. And again, ego leads to pride. Pride leads to failure because you don't know when to ask for help because you're too proud to ask for help. And I don't believe anybody that does beat the odds gets to the point of feeling like they've beaten the odds without legitimately swallowing their pride and asking for help. But when I say you should not start a business or create something from nothing, do develop a skill set and be a solopreneur that offers your skill set up as a for hire. I don't see anything wrong with that. I think that, like, if you are really good at a skill, offering that as a service, that's absolutely nothing wrong with that, because much the same way, like, what is a great employee? A great employee is somebody that comes in and they take responsibility for themselves. They take pride in their work ethic, and they come in and they display high character and good work ethic, and they are a valuable team member to a business. So as a solopreneur, if you develop a skill set, you can offer your service to a company. You're responsible for yourself. You're offering a valuable service that you're able to execute well, and you, in fact, work for yourself. Do franchise a business, because if you want to build a business, you don't understand the pain of developing the systems required to actually be successful in business. And that's part of the reason that I have these two on here, because I'm 18 years in. Well, they've been with me the last 5 or 6 years. They've realized that, like everything, would you agree, is built around systems?
Everything is built around systems.
Okay. Would you further agree that when you both came into the business, that even at the level that I was at, that the systems were pretty arcane?
Sure, that's a word to use.
Okay. And I'm saying that because Skylar came in not knowing no better one way or the other. She just came into the systems themselves, but she has seen the evolution of those systems, and now in her position, she's very much on the forefront of taking those systems that were, when she came into them, second and third generation, and taking them to fourth generation.
Yeah, because we were talking about that earlier. I think when she started, we were still shooting some second generation videos.
I know. The thing is
because you had that little camcorder.
No, because that's the thing is, though, is that's what I'm saying is I'm thinking that when you came in, we were dealing with second generation, and you helped me build out the full third generation.
Yeah, then it was like a year later we did all third.
Yeah, and now we're on to fourth generation.
And this one's way more detailed.
Well, and that's where, again, I'm trying to give reasoning. Why do I say that you should, if you want to be in business, invest in a franchise operation? Well, because franchising is about, you are buying systems that you just unpack and execute. And what you don't realize is the level of monetary commitment that has to be made in order to develop those systems on a scale that you actually franchise those systems.
Right.
Case in point, in order for us to go from third generation systems that were heavily manual labor and cheaply done, in order to move into the fourth generation, just to have the ability to build out a fourth generation system that is paired with our franchising opportunity, I had to stroke a check for $30,000 just to have access to the platform that actually allowed us to build a systemized training platform that rivals multi-million dollar, billion-dollar corporate system offerings. So as a small business, like, I'm not saying that you should not continually develop and evolve your systems. I'm saying they're only going to get you so far in your ability to grow and scale. In order to truly see something through to the other end, you're going to have to stomach stroking checks in the multi-thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars to develop systems in order to be able to say, I might be small, but my systems rival that of being able to compete with the billion-dollar businesses in the industry itself. So yes, if you want to get into business, do get into franchise operations, because you are buying proven systems that are already a blueprint that they're proven. It's not a hypothesis or a theory of execution. This is real world execution already being done. You are just going to bring these brands that has been developed and these systems that have been tested and proven into your backyard, where you have a frame of reference, and you're going to unpack them and execute those systems in your chosen area. Here's the other piece that I think people miss, but in today's day and age, I'm like, there is another option where I'm like, do buy a business. If you want to get into business, the glitz and the glamour of the new digital age has made a bunch of businesses out there that are in fact boring and unattractive. But again, you should not get into business to feed your ego. You get into business to build something, to have another way of supporting yourself and earning an income. There are millions of businesses right now that are for sale. There are millions of businesses right now that the old timer that has spent the last 30 years operating those business, they're not glitzy and they're not glamorous businesses, but they're legitimate businesses. And the next generation of kids don't want anything to do with those businesses, because they're not digital, they're not glitzy and glamorous, but they are legitimate businesses with legitimate books of business, with a legitimate established reputation that can be built upon and brought into the next generation. And part of the reason that I say don't build a business from scratch is because people don't realize how much money it takes to actually get a business off the ground. Matt.
But I mean, it also on that same, you can't buy a business and then radically change it and hope to still have, I don't want to say it that way, because then it's like you can make changes and it can grow, but you can't buy it and then not know the industry, change it, hoping that it works out and tank it. There's a little bit more research is needed on buying a business. And
I want to be clear, because that right there, we're not going down that rabbit hole today. That's a whole nother podcast on the proper way to buy a business and bring it from what the old time, because the reason I say old timers is because the businesses that I'm talking about that you should be looking at, their systems are arcane. The chances are it's an old timer that has been in it for 30 to 40 years. They either have to sell it, but they don't know if there's value, or they have to wind it down, and they have old pen to paper systems. They have not moved into the digital age.
Right.
One of the biggest mistakes that you can make would be to go buy that business and then make just absolutely stupid radical changes like the business better than that owner. There is a right way and a wrong way to buy a business and acclimate the business, acclimate to the customer base, learn the skill sets involved, learn the systems that are in place, and slowly start to
improve the systems.
And turn that ship.
That's what I was trying to get
into the 21st century. That's what I said. Different podcast about the intricacies of that.
I didn't want you telling people around out there like, yeah, just go start buying business.
No, but that's what I'm saying, is that I'm sitting there going, you have been beside me through.
Although if I win the Mega Millions today, I might go out and buy some business.
That's a whole different story. And again, a whole different story in itself. But Matt has been with me through development of businesses from scratch, and he's been with me through purchasing of businesses,
acquisitions,
and he has watched me succeed and fail. He's watched me make my mistakes, and he's watched me make some prudent decisions. Again, completely different podcast. The point
Part 3 next week.
Yes, the point that I want to make, and this is where Matt will chime in, is that Matt does one thing really, really well. Matt spends my money really, really well.
I try.
Would you say that you have succeeded in spending a lot of money in systems development and continual process and improvement that has put us in a position to be able to franchise and compete with the billion-dollar already pre-established businesses in these industries?
I feel like you're setting me up on that one to be like, yep.
Okay,
right, sure did.
Because that's
not true.
We're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars, and that's where I'm saying the deck is so stacked against you in today's day and age. You should not start a business from nothing. It is a painful losing proposition. And it goes back to that old saying, if you want to make $1 million in the food and beverage industry, start with $2 million. Like, I have seen so many people.
I think that's important to point out too. We're mainly both have most of our, not all, but most of our history is in food and beverage.
And you're correct. But let's talk about the points of that, because like, again, I think I've always kept my ego in check, but getting to the other side of things, it's a point of pride that we have built and succeeded in one of the easiest industries to get into, but one of the absolute hardest industries to master.
I was going to say easiest to fail in.
Yes, easiest to fail in. It really is. Like, everybody thinks,
it's easy to get in and it's real easy to get out.
Yes. And the out is riddled with disaster and devastation. Like, the financial destruction, because again, when a part of the why I say don't build something from nothing, you don't realize you're capable of building debts that you cannot walk away from, even if you choose to throw in the towel. Even if the business fails, you still have to go back, and if you shut your doors, the debts are still there. And you don't just say, oh, well, I'll just file bankruptcy and start over again. One of the misnomers, maybe misnomers is not the right word. What I'm trying to get at is that the government and their whole design is to keep their thumb on you. So when you try and break away from that and start your own business, don't think that the government doesn't have a plan for that as well. They will drown you in paperwork. And since they are the ones that have created the laws, they wrote the laws so that they are exempt from the laws. So if you, when you create a debt, you would think, if this fails, I just file bankruptcy and I'm relieved of this debt. That is not the case with the government. The government taxes you 20 different ways. It taxes you to have employees. It taxes you to make sales. If you do not pay these taxes, they are not bankruptable. So even if you fail, your debts to the government continue to accrue through penalties and interest. You're not able to walk away from those debts. So it's like you can bleed out, but the government will, I mean, like, you can be dead and they're like, get up, dude, you still owe us money. Like, they don't walk away from it. So
it's the new age mob.
I'm trying to, so it was, I heard a statistic and it just totally blew me away and I need to kind of spell this out to get to it. One of the largest public holding companies in the world is called BlackRock. BlackRock has $11 trillion of assets under management. Then you have Vanguard, and I don't know the statistics of Vanguard as far as how many assets they have under management.
A lot.
It's a lot, yeah. But that wasn't what blew me away. Between BlackRock and Vanguard, they own 20% of all board seats to public companies. Mm-hmm. Now think about two companies that are ran by a board and CEOs, and they control or have influence of the level of 20% of all public companies. That consolidation of power, that consolidation of money in big business, they dictate what happens and what doesn't happen, who gets access to money and who doesn't get access to money. And I'm saying that because we are in a time where if you look back at the Rockefellers and the J.P. Morgan and the Andrew Carnegie, they were not heavily involved in government, but they were before a time of unions and regulation, and you really generally should not have attempted business in those times because those three names ran roughshod over the entire country, and the work conditions that you had to work under them, like that, they were ruthless. These three people were so ruthless that they ran roughshod over the entire country to amass all of their wealth. Then, as we are going through time, government starts to push back. Well, as government starts to push back, then these three realize we need to start investing our money in the government policy makers. So now we're at the other end of the spectrum where they've invested all of their money to where they own all of the policy makers. So they are still in control. Their money is still running everything, but they also now control the policymakers that have written all the rules to ensure that small business cannot win. I'm trying to give you all of the reasons why getting into small business and developing something from nothing is dumb. It's like the odds are so stacked against you. I'm just being honest, where out of the 100 people, the one person that wins that will be standing there going, I won, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm not talking to you, dipshit. I'm talking to the other 99 that I'm trying to save from the pain, destruction, and devastation that is waiting on you if you choose to enter this game. And you two have been a part of my life for the last 5 or 6 years, and you've seen the amount of stress and the amount of struggle.
Notice the gray hair.
They both knew me at a time where the gray hair was a lot less. Okay. And for all of you judgmental little shits, I am not a boomer. I am a proud Generation Xer, and there is a story behind every one of these gray hairs. I'm only 49 or 48 years old.
I was like, whoa,
I am only 48 years old, but there's a story behind every one of these gray hairs, and it is all tied to my stupid decision of throwing my name in the entrepreneurial hat and the almost 2 decades that it took me to get to the other side to be able to say, knowing what I know now, I never would have left my career at Chrysler because it was not worth the pain and the sacrifice that I went through over the last 20 years to get where I am. I'm proud of the accomplishments, but the level of pain and sacrifice, I'm like, knowing what I know now, I would never voluntarily go through this again. It's done. It's in the past. A lot of trial and error. Learned from the mistakes. We're going to apply it, but we still have to execute in order to keep that ball moving forward.
Every day.
So there is one main reason why I'm still today. You should not start a business from scratch.
Is this where you say it's for me?
How many times? No. What's the number one reason that I say you should not start a business from scratch? What is the number one reason that all businesses fail if you're trying to start from scratch?
I have an idea.
We're
going to go with waste kills all.
No, don't get me wrong. That is one of the many ways that you can fail in business, but that is not the number one reason why I'm sitting here definitively saying you should not go down this road.
99 out of 100 fail, but
that's in that 99, there are a multitude of reasons as to why they failed. There's one major reason that caused the majority of them to fail. It's also the one that makes it. That one reason is also why they succeed. The thing is, Skylar, you've seen it firsthand. What's your number one frustration, yet at the same time, when you feel really happy about why you're doing what you're doing in this business? What's the number one thing that you're like, you know what, I enjoyed that?
Purpose.
I mean, that parlays because it's where you find that purpose, and it is gathering a group of people that their purposes align to move forward. The one that wins gets a group of people to align to move forward. The number one reason people fail is people, employees. Being responsible for other people.
That's not where I would have taken it, but I mean, that makes it. I get what you're saying.
If you look at the 99 that fail, 50 of them fail directly because of employment, because of people. I jokingly say that it's like herding cats. I empathetically say that it's like nurturing children, which is also why I say I think women are better equipped for this piece of it, because women are naturally better nurturers. Women naturally take care of things and people better than men do. Employees are the number one reason that businesses fail, because it is like herding cats, because you have all of these different personalities, all of these different motives and agendas. And it's that's what I said, the one that makes it, that's where it comes back to the culture. That one that made it was able to continually keep a group of people aligned in a purpose to move forward, because I can't do it by myself. It is every accomplishment moving forward has been because we as a team pushed to move it forward.
So I'm going to do it.
But if you look at it, every single time that we have had a frustration inside of the business, what is the one thing that it's always come back to?
I mean, you say employees, but I definitely remember some shit distributors too. But
they're people. That's the whole point.
Well, I mean, everybody's people.
No, but that's
besides Elon.
Man, I mean, you don't. That's my ex-wife was like, they said it. It's like they have alien substances that prove that they can. I'm like, shit. Yeah, it would not surprise me at all if they're among us. And for the record, Matt's thing is, since 90% of the sea floor is undocumented or explored, he's convinced they live below us. But
in the wrong spot.
I'm just sitting there going, I don't know if Elon is an alien or not.
We're gonna find out when he fights Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg's gonna start beating him. And he's gonna transform into an alien real quick.
And my money is that bet is not gonna happen.
What? They're gonna do the fight?
No, I don't think they'll do the fight.
Oh, here we go.
I don't. You
guys want to make a bet?
No, I mean, because
they're gonna do it.
Do you think they will?
Yeah, they're gonna.
I don't. I mean, I don't. I just
too hyped up now. Two of the richest people in the world.
Yeah,
Octagon.
They've already gotten paid off of the social media clicks off of it. So I'm like, now what's the? I just don't.
Because what billionaire is going to beat the other billionaire?
No, I mean,
Bezos ain't getting involved. He's like, fuck that. Got my money. I'm on my yacht.
So I mean, to go back to that, because it's like, Skylar spent the majority of her time in Indianapolis, and then she came to Kokomo, and I heard through the grapevine, she didn't tell me this directly, that she was really starting to enjoy the people in Kokomo. So she was acclimating to the group in general. But then I will say, okay, Skylar, what's your number one frustration?
Number one...
There are no rules on the podcast.
No, that's what I said. Honestly, you can say whatever you want.
One of my biggest is lack of training. But, I mean, that goes back to the systems that we're trying to get together so that people can continue to learn.
Yeah, because I want to make a point. The training is there. The systems are there.
Yep.
So what you're talking about is the frustration
Of
people.
Yeah. Yeah.
fucking people.
And here's the thing, that's the dichotomy of it. In order to start a business, you're going to serve people. In order to scale a business, you're going to have to serve the people that serve the people. Like, that's where I say there's, especially in small business, there's no room for pride. My job is to serve Matt. My job is to serve Skylar, because they serve the people that serve the actual customer.
You messed that up. Should have been that serve you. I looked at the camera.
Oh, yeah. No, well, that's this podcast, and I'm sitting there going, I don't know how many people listening to this pod that are actually coffee junkies, pizza junkies customers. If you are happening to,
but we would love to serve you.
Because I think if you are already currently a customer, I appreciate you very much. Thank you, because this has been a hard fought. I don't even want to call it a victory, because that's one of the misnomers about business. Like, it's not a win. Like every day that you get up and you're still in business, you're winning, but you never get to an actual winning, or a win is a finite, oh, I won.
I mean, I think each one of the big milestones is a...
You get to the milestones.
Not a win, but it's
you see what I'm saying? That's why you get to the milestones.
It's a trophy-worthy number.
Yes. So, again, we're coming back to people. It is very gratifying to me when I'm able to affect somebody's life in a positive way. So, right now, all the businesses, 80 people, there are a couple of them that let me know I have affected their life in a positive way. So, from my position, it is a continual, okay, all of these people are like, they want a paycheck, but a couple of them go out of their way to let me know that I have truly affected their life in a positive way. That is the gratification that comes out of it. Notice there's no money in that. It's not. It cannot be.
Money doesn't always make it better, though.
No, it does. And the thing is because, like, I'm not going to sit here and say that. I mean, look, I had a really good job at Chrysler, and I left Chrysler thinking that if I applied my own skills and determination, that I could make more money than I made at Chrysler. So I'm not going to sit here and say that money wasn't an element. I mean, like, you go into business because you do have delusions of grandeur, of being a multi-millionaire, billionaire, flying across the world, experiencing.
Flashback, and you play the memory where you're going to open 50 stores.
Oh man, that's what, and that's the whole. I laugh at that, because when I left, I was going to open 50 stores in 5 years, and oh, what a joke. But I because I want to be honest. Like, yeah, that money is a motivator, but I'm just here to tell you, money is the byproduct from taking care of people. Yeah. And to scale a business, you have to take care of people that take care of people. And then that scale is that take care of people. You're continually growing the amount of people. And there is a threshold that you are able to get to the other side of, or that the 1% is able to get to the other side of, that they continue to scale that. And they're serving people that serve people that serve people, somewhere in that serve your customer. And then you grow to another point of a level of serving people that serve people that serve people that serve your customer. That is how you scale a business. But 18 years in, it's still hard. Is it any less hard today than the day that you walked in the door?
Some aspects.
Different,
yeah.
not less. different. The problems are different because,
well, you're more willing now to look at new things than you were then.
and that's
So
been
easy. So in that, in my sense, makes it easier.
through growth. Okay.
Yeah.
So the push button frustrations that you dealt with out of me in the beginning, you're not dealing with those, but you're dealing with.
Yeah, now we got different problems.
And that's what I'm saying. It's no less hard every day.
But anytime it comes to technology, you're not immediately now.
No.
You'll at least hear me then be like, no.
But dealing with technology that is evolving and is created by humans, which makes it imperfect anyway. It's like our POS system is great, but it always frickin' fails at 5 o'clock on a Friday. Like without fail, the system is going to break and fail when you need it most to perform. That's part of technology in general.
It's never a good time for technology to break.
No, but I mean, I'll go back to the, like, one of the reasons that I have Skylar sitting here, like, she is the youngest person in the organization that is the most qualified person in the organization. So when you came in the beginning, you had to start learning. Okay, well, that learning has never stopped. You have been on a constant learning curve. Mm-hmm. The problems have become different problems, but the level of problems and the challenge of executing every day has not gotten any less hard. Agree or disagree?
Agree.
Okay. That's what I'm trying to get at. People that get into business, they look at it as a finite thing. I'm going to put in all of this work here, and I'm either going to cash out here or everything's just going to get way easier here. False. It's not true. It's always hard. Every single day. 18 years in, I still wake up, and some of my biggest frustration is that I'm still dealing with the same dumbass issues that I was in year one. Why? Because of people. And I love people. That's the whole thing, is that, and I've said this before on a podcast, I love one-to-one communication. I hate people because groups of people will drive you insane. And when you start breaking that down to a micro level, even in business and scaling, okay, it's not a one-to-one. It is still groups of people. It's just that they say, ideally, you're only going to manage 6 to 7 people because you can only truly have an impact on 6 to 7 people, and you are only capable of herding 6 to 7 cats. Like anything beyond that, you need another level, and they're responsible for that. Ain't
You need a dog
that helps you herd the. Then you correct. So the 1% that makes it by figuring out how to scale with people, how to get through to personalities, how to keep everybody aligned. That is the hardest part. And that is where the failure is. And that's what makes it not worth it, because everybody is capable of being a good member, a good contributing member of society. Everybody is capable of putting in an honest day's work for an honest day's pay. Everybody is capable of displaying high character and caring about their personal reputation and moving through the day thinking about their own actions. So few are capable of scaling that to being responsible for other people on an endless scaling level. So few have the skill set, the patience, the desire to actually get through to people and be able to scale on that level. And I mean, I know that Skylar is here, and like, this woman did not like me. And I'm being honest about this. She did not like me as an individual for who I am. Now, I have not changed. I think that she grew to appreciate who I was, because you have to be a certain type of way in business. And I think I have evolved over time myself. I'm not as intense And she has seen that evolution over the last 5 or 6 years. But like I've long said, you don't have to have beers with your coworker. You don't have to be friends with your coworker. You have to be able to respect what your coworker brings to the table every day. Skylar did not like me. Skylar developed a respect for me. Skylar developed an appreciation for me. Skylar grew herself at the same time.
There's some people to thank for all that. But
What's that?
I said there's some people to thank for all that.
And again, that's
But we won't mention names.
why. Because look, that's the joke about this. Matt learned, don't water me down, but I understand when you communicate my desires, my words or actions to other people, that you're going to water me down to somebody else. Matt,
You have to.
Yes. Matt waters me down to other people, but he doesn't try and water me down. And
Well, sometimes. Try.
no. I still go back to your efforts are in spending my money. That's
So unfair.
it's not though.
I haven't spent that much money.
Lately.
We can change that though.
No. I'm not. That's
Start with a fucking backup camera in my car. Would be.
oh my God.
I'm not sure how I'm going to get out of this parallel parking.
There's a whole nother story here, and we're not going down. We are not going down that rabbit hole. Because it's like the values are changing in this world. The culture is changing in this world. The ways that which you managed and led in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, like that shit does not play today. I don't know. No, I do know. Steve Jobs could not have started today.
Oh, no.
With the type of attitude and personality that he had and succeed.
I mean, you could take that to Ford. You could take that to Carnegie. All those people, that would not happen.
And that's what I'm saying. Because if those people heard me in their days, they'd be like, shit, I will beat them into submission until they do my bidding. It's not that way today. And that's
literally how they did things.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to be.
You clock out, you go get your ass beat in the parking lot.
Yes. So it is a rarity that somebody is willing to swallow their pride and understand that the only type of really successful leadership is the servant style leadership, and the servant style leadership dictates that you are not at the top of the food chain, you are at the bottom of the food chain. And so few people can grasp that concept. Even fewer want that and are able to pull gratification from being good with that. I don't need my ego stroked. That's why I said I'm not real big on titles. I know that that's easy for me to say from my position in general, but I don't need to be called president or CEO. And when people ask me if I own one of the companies, I'm like, yeah, it owns me, because I'm just being honest, where more of I almost like a glutton for punishment, but I find gratitude in serving others, knowing that I have brought them on to, in fact, serve others. I think that everything that I'm seeing on social media from some of the people that I very much respect, they have Simon Sinek that has a very similar message. And I was listening to a podcast where he was like, my core focus is unraveling everything that Jack Welch did. Like, he is so against that leadership style that is his core purpose, is to unravel that thought process and get that out of people's head to say, this is not how you lead people. This is not how you build a business in this day and age.
Internet has completely just changed all of that.
Everything. And that's where I said, what's funny is all of this information being exposed and open and available to everybody, and then looking at the other people that did it without having access to this information, one, they did it a different way, and two, the odds are still the same, even with all of this information available to you. Because as much as people want to say that they want to be socialist or they want to look out for their brother, they don't. People are still very much self-serving, self-interested, self-consumed, and getting people, because
not entirely fair, but
I think it is on a very much an individual level in general. I think that the people that are able to be successful in business are the people that are able to get through to people to show them something worth putting effort into that is bigger than themselves.
true, which goes back to her point.
That's what I was about to say, to purpose. Because the purpose has to be bigger than you. It has to be something you feel compelled to give your energy and effort contributing towards that is a purpose bigger than you. But I couldn't do it with just a you. I have to be able to do it with 10 of you that have 10 underneath you. And that's to get into millions. To get into tens and hundreds of millions, there's going to have to be 10 under the 10 that are under you. That's how the pyramid happens, and that's how scaling happens in a business. Because I'm not talking about social media influencers; those are the solopreneurs. I'm not talking about the digital online people. I'm saying you only have so many ways that you're going to scale a business. And as a small business, take money off the table. You don't have money as small business. So you're either going to do it as a social media influencer, thereby you're not doing it with people, and there is a cap to the level of money that you can generate and the scale that you can have through media, or you are incredibly intelligent and you could do it through technology and through a SaaS product, or you're going to scale with people. And small businesses have to be scaled with people. And that's where I said, don't create something from nothing. Buy a business that already has a customer list. Buy a franchise that already has systems to open up each individual store and build off of your first customer. Do not start something from scratch, day one, $1, customer one. It is a stupid decision. It is a losing proposition, and I'm just saving you a bunch of pain.
So how do you feel about starting a business?
It's a no for me. All the years that you have been doing this, from everything that I've said, is there anything that you disagree with in that?
No, I think a lot of people don't. Of course, once again, coming from the food and beverage side, but there's just so much people don't understand.
But that's what you're saying, food and beverage side, but I'm sitting there going, I've exposed you to digital media and marketing through Scared Rabbit.
Garbage.
I've exposed you through garment, screen printing, embroidery,
which is a little
apparel.
Bit better, other than, we don't like getting fat people any apparel.
Oh my God.
I know you're struggling to read what this says under here. I know it's black on black. It's rough.
Oh my Lord. I mean, that's testing mistakes, but I mean, and some of that is the actual logo itself.
Solid.
Yeah. Trial and error.
Yep. We trialed.
We'll continue to.
We'll get me one.
The point is, I don't think that the concept is any different in any industry. There's nothing wrong with going to school, developing a skill set to become involved in a big business that already has money, and then climbing the corporate ladder. At some point, you're working up, and again, you're only responsible for your individual efforts, and that's the thing about
which isn't a bad thing.
No. That's the whole point. That's what I'm saying. People think that by starting your own business, that you're going to gain all this freedom and you're going to make all of this money. If you start a small business, you're creating your own jail, and you're going to work for half the wage that you think that you're going to work for.
And twice as many hours.
Yes, you're going to work. That's what I said. You to build your own jail. You're going to work harder, and you're going to do it for an extended amount of time, which
for a lot less money.
Yes, and you're going to understand the true meaning of delayed gratification. I'm just trying to say, stop believing the fallacies. Stop believing the people on Instagram that are flashing Ferraris and private jets. And here's another one where, again, I'm going to be honest. Stop believing the business coaches that have made a business from coaching. The reason that I'm saying that, there's nothing wrong with business coaches. And there's nothing wrong with seeking coaching from somebody that is at a higher level than you are, because they possess valuable information. They are capable of helping you get to that next level. I'm saying that in the age of the internet, a whole industry of coaching as a profit business has been created. And what those coaches don't tell you is that they know they're charging 100 people for that coaching. They know 99 of them are either going to do nothing with it or they're going to fail. It's turned into a business of its own. And I'm just being honest about this. And it was one of the things that Matt was like, he asked me, well, are you going to get into coaching and consulting? And I said, no, I'm going to reserve that for my franchisees, because I want to give that type of coaching and consulting to people that are already in the system. They're already operating their own operations. They're already franchisees. I'm not looking to create and build a business where my job is to find aspiring entrepreneurs and say, you can do it. You can do it. Just keep doing it. Just keep getting up and fighting every day. Just keep believing. Just keep telling yourself you can do it. To get paid every single month. It has turned into a for-profit business for itself. And I'm not knocking those people, because the business coaches that I know, like, they truly do possess the knowledge, the skill set, the experience. They know what it takes. I'm not taking anything away from them. I'm just saying their business model has went to that coaching. And they know that by and large, the people that they're coaching, they're not going to do the appropriate things. They're not going to have the necessary discipline. They're not going to have the necessary internal motivation. They're not going to make the appropriate decisions. They are not capable of building a culture of people that actually that want to buy into a purpose that is bigger than them. But they are in business to coach. I don't want anything to do with that industry.
Sounds like a fitness membership.
The principle is the same, because you buy a fitness membership.
100 people buy it. A couple might use the information.
And the ones that show up and use the information that the coach is having to offer. Exactly. But I've talked to these business coaches, and one of their biggest frustrations is their bag being cut online from people that want to dog them because they didn't do the appropriate thing with the information and they failed, so they want to blame the coach. There's no, that when you are coaching 100 people, not all 100 people are going to have high character, care about personal accountability, literally receive the information and execute, because it's not about knowledge, it's about what you do with the actual knowledge itself.
Have all the knowledge in the world if you don't execute on it.
And that's where I said they have chosen a business in an industry that has been created due to technology. It has its own frustrations, and I'm sitting there going, I would rather deal with the frustration of, oh, we screwed up your coffee, let me remake your coffee till you're happy with it. Oh, we screwed up your pizza. Let me remake your pizza that you're happy with it. Oh, we screwed up your garment. Let me remake. I mean, we are in businesses where we're not selling, we're serving. The product sells itself. They have chosen to be in businesses where people cut your bag and they cut your bag online, and 99 out of 100 of them, it's because they didn't hold themselves personally accountable, because they didn't show discipline, because they didn't show character, because they didn't execute on the principles that these coaches are trying to give them. These are the problems inside of that industry. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want that. I would, the people that I want to coach are my franchisees, that they've already bought into the system. They're already paying royalties. This is, I must serve them to help them develop the skills that they need in order to execute their actual operations. And I mean, they're not going to go out and cut my bag. That's you're going to be hate on some level no matter what you do. Every type of business has its own problems. But again, even in business coaching, it still comes back to the people. I mean,
it's always the damn people.
Yes. Okay. Hopefully I'm just trying to be honest, because I'm sitting there, again, I go back to, sooner or later, I'll get him on the podcast, my Uncle Breck, and like tremendous amount of respect. I call him my uncle. The dude's like a big brother, but I mean, like, he's a retired captain of IMPD. He is a doctorate in business. I don't know if it's business management or business development. And he told me, don't, like, all those years ago, don't do that. He just didn't give me any of the why. I mean, I like,
and that's your inner millennial, right?
And that
was like, just,
well, and don't get me wrong, that's the other side of it. Brex never ran a business. He talks, I mean, he can talk to me about what he teaches in college and the overall principles of business development and business management. But that's where I say so much of what you learn in academia
it isn't real world.
Yeah, that's you're going to get to the real world and you're going to find out the difference. But neither here nor there. The point is, I did have people telling me not to do it, but they didn't tell me the why. And even if they could not, from a level of experience, offer the why. And most people that want to pump themselves up are not going to be just blatantly honest with you about the why. And I'm being blatantly honest. It's gratifying when I have people tell me that I've affected their life, and that's great, and it feeds me, and I've gotten through to the other side. But if you categorize them as people, I'm telling you, it's people is the reason that I'm telling you not to do it, and I'm just being honest. Herding cats is next to frickin' impossible. 1 out of 100 figures out how to successfully accomplish it, and I'm just being frickin' honest about it. And if anybody else says otherwise, they're lying to you and they're trying to sell you something.
Because the stat still is 99% will fail.
Exactly. And that's, you want to get into it, and we're not going to go, I mean, none of it survives either. Look at history. No currency survives. No business survives other than insurance. Like, insurance always seems to survive. But when you look back over history, like the sole industry that has like really stood the test of time, that it's insurance.
And banking.
Of some form or other, yeah.
Which, I mean, I guess insurance is kind of tied it in with banking, but yeah.
Yeah, it's all about creating something from nothing. I mean,
right.
Like insurance is computating numbers and going, oh, I need to get this number because sooner or later I'm going to have to pay out this, but I'm also going to have to be profiting. Banking is fractionalizing dollars to be like, oh, I took $1 in, now I'm going to loan it out 10 times. That,
yeah.
Okay.
And then we bail them out, and yeah, it's good times.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. Do you have, I don't know, do you have anything that you would add to that? To that level of honesty? Because again, the whole purpose of doing this podcast is putting out real honest information to I mean, because it is not just about principles for success in business. It is all, it's about being successful in life as well. But I mean,
keeping with the employee, it's making sure you hire the right employees for the right culture and atmosphere more than skill. You can train skill. You can't train personal character.
100%. And there's gurus out there. I say gurus. There's people out there that I heavily respect. That they will say the same thing. Like, you can train a skill set, attitude, and personality meshing with the group, and a group being more important than any one individual
is the key.
Yes.
Anything you want to add?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so? And again, that's what I do laugh about. Like no shit. This chick is like the most qualified individual. She can walk into the store and she has been trained on, and she is either at a proficiency or a proficient or expert level in virtually every position and every system inside of the business. And she is also one of the, if not the youngest, full-time management personnel inside of the business. And that's where I give her all of the respect in the world. She's frustrated the shit out of me in her younger years, and that was when she didn't like me. I'm saying all of this because I'm being honest.
Maybe I didn't like you, but I think that I hadn't learned, like, when you're mad and you're yelling, I was always taking it personal. But I think I literally just learned how to put the wall up and be like, he's not mad at me.
Yeah.
Because I know I didn't do anything wrong.
Well, and I know that she picked up a major concept. I'm trying to make sure that I don't. We had a second chance employee that fucked up, but they did not screw up inside of our operation. Well, yeah, they didn't. Their screw up did not affect us, but they're a second chance individual that they screwed up. And I have already developed a certain amount of respect for this individual. I'm a very direct individual. So I felt the need to give them a little bit of like medicine. I believe
old school medicine. Where that's like the
well, yeah, no, but that's what I'm saying is that I think too many parents are foo-foo with their kids, which is part of the freaking problem.
Yep.
And there's not enough tough love. And there's not enough direct honesty. So when I heard this, because they've screwed up, it has now created further complications in their life because they're in the system. And like getting out of the system is incredibly hard. And I made it very clear to them, like, now you got to bite the bullet. Now you're going to take the medicine. Now you quit screwing up. You're going to do this, this, and this. You're not going to do this, this, and this. Suck it up. You put yourself in this position. Now take your medicine and let's get down the road so that we can all get to a better place. What came back to Skylar was he yelled. And Skylar's response, and this is how I knew that she got it, was he wouldn't have yelled if he didn't care about you. That's how he told you that he cared.
Tears.
It really, it lets me know that I am more understood than, like, there are times where I'm questioning, am I understood? Because I'm like,
I wish you had your cup, because it's got to be pretty close to 5 years.
End of August should be 5 years. Yep.
So we're right up on it. And again, that's that gratifying when I know I've spent a lot of my life being misunderstood. People think that I'm harder than I am, and I'm like, no, not only do I understand empathy, I understand sympathy. I've given legitimately the shirt off my back to people that have turned around and put a knife in my back. Yeah, that's like that. They say what kills you makes you stronger, and I'm like, bullshit. It leaves scars. But I'm still a big believer. Like, I know people that those scars lead to them being unwilling to love, unwilling to trust, unwilling to be vulnerable. And I believe that leads to a very cold, ungratifying life. No, I have the scars to prove it, but I still love. I still trust. I'm still vulnerable. If you need it more than I need it, I'll still give you the shirt off my back. That does not mean that it's not going to come with some tough love words about the realities itself. And that's where I think that Skylar and I have gotten to a better place because, one, I've grown. Two, she's grown to understand truly where my heart is.
This is the greatest therapy session I've ever been involved in.
Hey, well, but that's the challenge. That's what I'm saying. The 1 out of 100 that makes it figures out how to do that.
A lot of people could learn that or need to learn that.
But they won't.
They won't.
And that's why you should not go into business and start something from nothing, because it requires a level of learning and skill set development and pain and sacrifice and suffering that you're not going to be willing to do. And I'm just being honest and making a by and large statement. It takes a devotion, dedication, and discipline that 99 out of 100 do not have, and the statistics bear out. And I'm just being honest and trying to save you some pain. If you are a really good, hardworking person, either work for yourself or go be a really great entrepreneur inside of somebody else's operation that is going to appreciate you. You will get further faster, you will make a lot more money, and you will live a happier life.
And have fun along the way.
Yes, because that's the whole point of, life is,
when you walked out and seen the cup on the car, did you laugh?
Yeah, I did, actually. I did. I absolutely did. And then I promptly left it in her car when I gave her car. Okay, we're going to wrap this up. If you learned anything, if any of it resonated, please share the show. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, snide remarks, please feel free to share them with social media. That's all part of the algorithm.
And if you think Elon and Zuckerberg are going to go at it, let us know.
Yeah, I want to hear, because I just don't. I'm
if you
at
think
this
they
point.
are, who do you
I don't think it's going to happen. My thing, I don't think it's going to happen, because I'm like, I didn't realize until I read this article that Zuckerberg has gotten all buff and like he is quite accomplished in jujitsu. So I'm like.
But Elon's got the weight and the reach.
And don't get me wrong, I got a scar in the back of my head to attest that weight is a major factor.
There's a reason there's classes.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, that's what, because I can, that was, in my younger years, I got involved in a fight and
fucked around and found out.
Yeah, I did, because I'm sitting there going, when somebody's got you by 100 pounds, like even if you can get momentum to roll them, they just keep rolling, and inevitably they still end up on top of you, hitting you in the head.
And it leaves scars.
Yes. All right. Until next time, you guys have a good night.